Say it with me now. If this trade actually goes through, if we actually see a move before this video is public on the internet, then I apologize. But we have to go over Real Kipper's trade board 9.0 from yesterday morning. Not because we necessarily need to dive into where exactly some of these guys are gonna get traded to. We already saw Darnell Nurse get traded. We already saw some of these other guys get moved. But either way, there is a very interesting update on Detroit Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin that needs to be talked about here, because it turns out we may have just learned about what Stevie Y would want in return when it comes to a Larkin to Minnesota Wild trade. Enter Matt Boldy. Take a look at Kipper's article. It'll be linked in the description down below. The Red Wings would have no problem trading Dylan Larkin to Minnesota if the Wild were prepared to part with Matt Boldy. Other than Boldy, there is nothing else Detroit GM Steve Yzerman is too interested in. That leaves Larkin with three choices. 1. Open up the trade demand to more teams. The Wild and Golden Knights don't have anything that excites Detroit. Number 2, prepare to start next season with the Red Wings. And number 3, prepare to stay home and not get paid. As of July 1, the door number 2 looks like the best door. So, as the next stage of the NHL offseason arrives, here's my latest trade board. The article then talks about Zach Werenski, Matthew Nyes, Connor Hellebuck, Robertson. Here's more on Larkin, written by Kyprios in the piece. As Steve Yzerman holds tight and Larkin's trade list remains narrow, this is not close to a resolution. Minnesota and Vegas just don't seem to want to move what the Red Wings would need, and so Yzerman is just not interested right now. Larkin may yet still be a Red Wing in the fall. Between Werenski and Marchenko, Columbus GM Don Waddell's offseason planning has been severely disrupted. Next summer, Marchenko will be in a similar situation to Robertson, an RFA who is just 1 year from UFA status. The Blue Jackets want to come out of this still with competitive upside. With the Werenski situation in a feverish state the last 24 hours, Marchenko seems to be in a holding pattern. Now, as we spoke about yesterday on the channel, Zach Werenski and the Blue Jackets, I don't want to say that they've come to a resolution, quote-unquote, but there was a statement made by both Don Waddell and a separate statement made by Zach Werenski that indicated that these two were, I don't want to say on the same page, but it's like, oh no, actually I'm okay with sticking around in Columbus. I'm not demanding to leave. I want to stay here. My family's here. I like it here. I've been here for 10 years. I want to be a Blue Jacket. And I'd say that that was really unexpected. I don't know if anybody really thought that Zach Werenski was going to come out there and ardently state how he wanted to be a Blue Jacket. And it seems like when it comes to the Columbus situation, that may be another one of these elements that influences how other GMs around the NHL view these trade discussions for top players. Whether or not that influences what happens with Dylan Larkin in Detroit, that remains to be seen. But this notion that Stevie Y wants Matt Boldy in a Larkin trade is so funny to me. Because obviously, you can dream big. Obviously, you can want what you want. Obviously, if you're trading away the captain of your franchise because he wants to leave, you have the right to demand a king's ransom for your guy. And Matt Boldy certainly is great. But the problem is, he's kind of too great. I don't think anybody is looking at a Boldy for Larkin trade and saying, that's a fair deal. That helps out both teams. It's like, nah, Matt Boldy is a superior player. Straight up. Take a look at it. Dylan Larkin is 29 years old, $8.7 million till the end of 2030. He's got a lot of years left. 6'1", 205. Matt Boldy, on the other hand, he's 25 years old, so he is a full 5 years younger than Dylan Larkin. Boldy is making $7 million a year till the end of 2030. 6'2", 201. So, similarly sized. I get that Larkin is a center and Boldy is a winger, but Boldy is making fewer dollars per year till the same time, till 2030. They're both going to be on the books for the next 5 years. And Matt Boldy this season had 85 points in 76 games. And he's not even the top winger in Minnesota. 42 goals, 43 assists. You know who has never had 80 points in an NHL season before? Dylan Larkin. Like, oh, duh. This guy is career high in points, 79 points in 80 games played in 22-23. Guess what? Still missed the playoffs. This previous season, he was under a point per game. Why? Because he was lollygagging and just not playing his hardest heading into the Olympic break this year. It seemed like Dylan Larkin was playing in such a way where it's like, yeah, he's playing to not get injured and to not jeopardize his Olympic spot more than anything. And then by the time the Olympics wrapped up and he was back in Detroit, yeah, sure, there were some games where he went out there and scored a bunch of points, but the Red Wings still, I mean, look at all the losses here. Dylan Larkin was not the guy to carry this team into the playoffs, and you can say that there were some disappointing elements to his game. Meanwhile, guess what Matt Boldy did after coming back to Minnesota after the Olympic break? Yeah, by the way, he was also productive at that tournament. The Wild, they were winning a ton of games. They found themselves in the playoffs. And sure, they ended up losing to Colorado in 5 games in the second round, but Matt Boldy still went out there with over a point per game performance in the postseason. Dylan Larkin could never. Like, I'm sorry, Dylan Larkin is fine. He's a good enough player to have as a top-line center, but Matt Boldy is a top-line winger. You don't have to preface it by saying, if he's on a good Stanley Cup contending team, he'd be on the second line. Nah, Boldy's good enough for first-line duty. He's just 25 years old, and he's just playing in the shadow of Kaprizov. If Matt Boldy is on your first line as a Stanley Cup championship contending team, that's fine. If Dylan Larkin is on your first line as a Stanley Cup championship contending team, you're probably a little concerned. This was also expressed on Twitter. The Grindline podcast went out there and posted this. Big shout out to the Grindline guys. Love their show. I've been on their programming multiple times over the past few years. It looks like Boldy or bust for Yzerman if the Wild want Larkin. I don't think they have any appetite to move Boldy. And the replies say, hey, Boldy for Larkin? That's a hilarious trade. What a clown GM. It shows that Yzerman is not going to be lowballed. Minnesota has nothing the Red Wings want or need, at least outside of Boldy. Another reply says, Larkin isn't getting traded unless it's for a haul, so he's likely not getting traded. Yzerman should get 4 first-round equivalents for Larkin. That's not going to happen, Insider Hockey says. Now, credit where credit's due. I understand, literally pushing high for whatever package it is you can get. That's the only appropriate thing to do if you're an NHL general manager. But the way I'm viewing it is like this. Quinn Hughes went for 4 first-round caliber assets in Ogren, Buyum, Rossi, and a first itself. I don't know if Dylan Larkin is going to be able to fetch that kind of a package. Yzerman should get 4 first-round equivalents if it's available, but I don't think that's going to happen. Quinn Hughes went for that, and Larkin isn't Quinn. Okay, there you go. That's okay, Will Smith. Thanks for coming out here onto the screen. I appreciate your presence, as long as I keep your wife's name out of my gosh darn mouth. I don't want Larkin anymore. I want the situation to get so toxic in Detroit it sets the team back another 10 years. That's where we are headed. Don't trade him, fine. Eventually the locker room will want him out. It's going to cause issues, and I can't wait to see it. Oh, very rational ideas coming out here from Red Wings fans. Yeah, I want Larkin and the situation to get toxic. I want it to burn all down to the ground. Some men just want to watch the world burn. You want to know how I got these scars? Anyways, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments section. How do you feel about Minnesota and the Dylan Larkin trade update that Steve Yzerman would only really be interested in Matt Boldy when it comes to a Larkin trade with the Wild, which obviously that's not going to happen. I swear, if this actually does happen and this video is public after this trade goes down in some hypothetical dream world, then I'm going to sound like a total fool, but then again, it wouldn't be the first time. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Boldy, Larkin? I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.